Hey everyone, I'm Kyle Stover, and in the words of Tracer, the world could always use more heroes. That's why we're putting together our favorite Overwatch videos to celebrate our favorite heroes. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to become part of the notification squad.
Overwatch is considered one of the gaming community's most successful and enjoyable games, gaining universal acclaim from critics and fans alike for its diverse list of characters, maps, and objective-based combat. From its animated shorts, comics, text pieces, and more, it's clear that this is a world Blizzard intended to explore, and there's more to look forward to as we approach BlizzCon 2016. Hi, I'm Kyle Stover from the Leaderboard, and today we're going to give you 107 more facts about Overwatch. We cover everything from gadgets to glitches, so let's get started. Number 1. Overwatch was the biggest video game release of an original IP yet. With 9.7 million players in its first week, Overwatch beat Destiny and The Division for being the biggest game with no previous episodes to back it up. Number 2. Tracer was the first hero confirmed to cross over into Heroes of the Storm. She won't be the last though, as Zarya has already entered the Nexus, and more heroes are likely on the way. Number 3.
On March 8th, 2016,
Mercy's voice actor was recast during the beta. The developers believed in finding actors that were fluent in the native language of the character they would be playing. They were able to find an actress that could speak German to capture the essence of Mercy. Number 4. You thought Bastion was hard now? Bastion once had a forward-facing shield in turret mode, but that was cut during the beta, of course. The shield was 1,000 extra hit points that would regenerate even while still in turret mode, unlike Reinhardt's shield, which can only regenerate when it's down. So it was cut for pretty obvious overpowered reasons. Seriously, Bastion, what were they thinking? Blizzard, what? Number 5. Bastion and Torbjorn were subjects to major ability overhauls during the beta. The developers saw their abilities as too difficult for new players, yet not entirely viable for high-level play. Number 6. Early builds for Torbjorn allowed him the choice of using scrap for armor packs or upgrading his turret. Talk about resourceful. Later, this was scrapped, pun intended, to just allow scraps to be used for armor packs and allow him to freely upgrade his turret. Number 7. Here are some numbers that would make Dr. Evil proud. 9.7 million players participated in the open beta for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. These players amassed over 81 million hours of play across 37 million matches. And keep in mind, this was 4 days? Number 8. The average playtime during the beta was 8 hours, with the top 4 heroes played being Soldier 76 for offense, Widowmaker in defense, Reinhardt for tanks, and Mercy in support. Number 9. 87 million loot boxes were opened during this time, and 341 million heroes were commendated, with 72 million of those being enemy heroes. Give respect where respect is due. Number 10. In the closed beta, the tutorial had you shoot at recolored Bastion models without their turret gun. They were replaced with training bots, but Bastion still had the skin that you can unlock. Number 11. During the beta, Soldier 76 was removed from the hero roster for a few days due to a bug, which caused him to disappear entirely to the enemy team while wearing his new skin. Coincidentally, the skin was camouflage. Guess it worked a little too well. Number 12. The voiceover talent of Overwatch is top-notch, which isn't too surprising if you look at the experience of the cast. For example, Frederator, the voice of Soldier 76, has played a gritty soldier before as Gears of War's Damon Baird. Number 13. Plenty of Overwatch's talent already had some experience working with Blizzard. Fred Tatasciore was also Zeratul, the Dark Templar leader in StarCraft. Darren DePaul, voice of Reinhardt, was on Nubarok. Several others, being extras in World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and Diablo 3, returned to the recording booth for more Blizzard action. Number 14. Winston's voice actor, Crispin Freeman, is probably most recognizable for his role as Itachi Uchiha from Naruto. Just try to imagine those two having a conversation. Number 15. Tracer's voice actor, Cara Theobald, was on Downton Abbey as Ivy Stewart, the kitchen maid. Gotta have some class with that sass. Number 16. Both Matt Mercer and Crispin Freeman, voices of McCree and Winston respectively, were voices for Guardians in Destiny. They might have gotten some loot from Zur, the creepy merchant with ghost tentacles coming out of his face, who was also voiced by Fred Tatasciore. The Iron Banner was hosted by Lord Saladin, who's voiced by Keith Ferguson, giving the Reaper his gravelly performance. Number 17.
Paul Nagauchi, the voice of Hanzo, is also the voice of Meothas,
the former Archangel of Wisdom in Blizzard's Diablo series. He became the Angel of Death in Diablo 3's expansion Reaper of Souls. So take that, Reaper. You got some competition for edgelord. Number 18. Gaku Space, the voice of Genji, was on an episode of How I Met Your Mother as Robin's date in Say Cheese. Number 19. The devs have stated that there are over 7,000 lines of dialogue in the game. Multiply that by 12 different languages that the game has been localized for so far, and that's over 84,000 lines. Pretty good for a first-person shooter with no campaign mode. Number 20. Overwatch now has at least one character from every continent. That is, if you count Mei, as she was being stationed in Antarctica when she was frozen for several years.
Number 21. Blizzard hid an Easter egg on Eichenwald right under our noses. The evacuation papers on the map warn citizens that the Omnics will be invading on October 11th. In 2016, on the same date, they released the popular brawl Junkenstein's Revenge, the Halloween-themed horde mode where players held off invading Omnics. They tried to warn us. Or hype us? I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell with Blizzard sometimes.
Number 22. Tracer has a set of earrings known as helix piercings, or a double helix. This name is also used to describe the structure of DNA. Number 23. Genji's deflect can redirect many abilities and enemy fire, but did you also know it can deflect many ultimates, including Zarya's Graviton Surge, Mei's Blizzard, Pharah's Barrage Rockets, Bastion's Tank Blast, even Winston's knockback from his Raging Monkey Fists, and McCree's Deadeye Bullets. Looks like there's a new sheriff in town, and he's a cyborg ninja. Number 24. Genji was going to be a melee-focused character. However, the folks at Blizzard couldn't find a good balance for how much damage his sword could do. If his sword dealt too much damage, everyone would hate him, but the player had a good time. And if it did too little damage, he felt underpowered and the player wasn't enjoying it. Number 25. In the Overwatch Alpha, players were able to charge their ultimate meter by dealing damage to enemy barriers, such as Winston's Bubble Shield and Reinhardt's Barrier Shield. Number 26. When playing against AIs, any repeated heroes will be numbered, such as Ana and Ana 2 and Ana 3. However, if there are multiples of Soldier 76, the numbers continue from 76, resulting in Soldier 77, Soldier 78, and so on. Number 27. Rodog's tattoo was re-inked. Back in his original artwork, his tat showed a pig with a phoenix, which later turned to a pig that was on fire in front of an engine. Not gonna judge, but there has to be a better way to cook pork, right? Number 28. The giant mechs in Volskaya Industries, the Svyatogor, are named after a giant of Russian folklore who rode on a massive steed. The name is a derivation of the words sacred mountain, which is quite fitting given the size of the mechs. Have you seen them off in the distance? They make skyscrapers look like shoeboxes. And don't forget, they dance. Number 29. Zenyatta and his late teacher Mondada could very well be a reference to the album by The Police named Zenyatta Mondada. Coincidence? I don't think so. Number 30. Zarya's got a pretty good setup as far as her weapons go. Her gigantic gun was actually ripped off an armored vehicle and is too heavy for the common soldier to wield, but Zarya, being an Olympic weightlifter, can bear it. Her gloves are also special as they conduct and amplify energy through her particle cannon. Number 31. Zenyatta's orbs used to attach indefinitely until a new target was chosen or when Zenyatta died. This made Tracers and Genjis able to zip off by themselves and proved to be too much for remote healing. Number 32. At one point, Reinhardt's E ability had him throwing his hammer, Thor style, but developers thought it would be a bit too much. Also, it left him standing in the open and waiting for his weapon to come back, which is not a good position to be in the middle of battle. Number 33. So Reinhardt is 61 years old, and keep in mind that the Overwatch game is supposed to take place in the year 2076, which means that Reinhardt was born in the year 2015, which means right now he's not even old enough to watch this video. Aww. Number 34. Reinhardt's favorite movie growing up was Warcraft. So now we know where his love of hammers came from. Number 35. After several other options, game developer Chris Metzen came to be the voice of Bastion. You might not recognize his voice because it's gone through several software plugins and voice modulators. Number 36. Bastion went through several ultimates before the team finally settled on the current tank configuration. The devs are quoted as going through 50 ultimate ideas for Bastion, including a flying mode and the trip mine that we saw in the original ability preview. Number 37. The hit pip sound you hear when your weapon makes
makes contact with the enemy is the soundbite of a beer bottle being opened put in reverse. The developers wanted a sound that was satisfying, and even claimed it as the simplest sound to make, but the trickiest to figure out. Number 38. During a panel at Acon, Matt Mercer, the voice of McCree, admits that he has pranked his teammates by saying it's high noon in team chat so that they think a McCree is activating his ult. Number 39. Certain online personalities were sent real loot boxes from Blizzard with previews of the Summer Olympics when they came out, which included a mock gold medal, some teasers of the awesome Summer Olympics skins coming up, and sticker sheets showing all of the exclusive sprays. Number 40. A bright individual once said, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. We could argue that. There was a Chinese Overwatch ripoff called Legend of Titan. Obviously, this was a reference to Titan, the predecessor of Overwatch. The game ripped all of Blizzard's designs, assets, maps, and just slapped some pretty low-res functions in there. Obviously, that's just poor infringement and plagiarism. And that, kids, is no good. Don't be Number 41. Nearly every map has a computer screen open on it playing Hearthstone. It's good to know that in 60 years, Hearthstone is still going strong. Number 42. The way Overwatch's servers work is a method called favor the shooter, which means if on your screen the shot landed, but on the target screen it did not, typically the connection will favor the shooter. This has caused some issues, especially with Roadhog. It will appear as though Roadhog is able to pull you through walls and around corners. Number 43. The characters in Overwatch have head hitboxes that extend beyond their body, which is super generous to projectiles while in combat. Number 44. By exploiting the Resurrect ultimate, it was discovered that two Mercies can drift through the different maps of Nepal, from Sanctum at the top, then Shrine, and then the Village. The maps are fully loaded and can be walked through, although the points are not active. In other words, as cool as this is, don't do this in the middle of a real match, or your teammates will hate you. Number 45. If you have Reinhardt and Lucio in the starting point together, there's a possibility that they'll have an exchange about musical taste, and Reinhardt will talk about his favorite artist, David Hasselhoff. It's funny because Germans actually have an obsession with David Hasselhoff and his music career. Number 46. Before Overwatch's release, Blizzard released cards for each hero showing stats of damage, mobility, survivability, and utility. They also display their compatibility between certain characters and who they go well against. They're great for studying up on before your next big match. Number 47. Symmetra and Torbjorn both were nerfed on the console versions, with their turrets doing 30% less damage. No one saw something that big coming. Number 48. D.Va's defense matrix ability can absorb projectile attacks, including ultimates such as Tracer's Bomb, Mei's Blizzard, and even Hanzo's Dragon Strike if she catches it early enough while it's still just an arrow. Number 49. If you turn down the music in Overwatch and turn up the in-game sound effects, you'll notice a lot of details are added into the background. For example, on Volskaya Industries, there is stirring music playing at the memorial plaque ever so faintly. Number 50. The Omnics have their own alphabet, which you may have seen throughout the map. Prominently, these letters are shown in Nimbani and Nepal. Number 51. The map Temple of Anubis was the first map designed for Overwatch, but after so many plays, it still has that new map scent. Number 52. Celebrity Terry Crews said on Twitter that he was going to start streaming, and that he liked Overwatch. So Blizzard responded by sending him and his family a starter kit. This included collector's editions of all of their games, signed by the staff. Hint received. Number 53. Cosplayer Miss Lunar Crow went viral for her Symmetra cosplay and was contacted and complimented by the voice actor Anjali Bahmani, who said, "I couldn't have imagined a better IRL version." Number 54. Roadhog was part of the Australian Liberation Front that tried to fight back against the government granting areas of Australian outback to the Omnics after the war. This eventually led to the destruction of the Omnium's fusion core, resulting in an explosion that destroyed the facility, irradiated the region, and littered the outback with twisted metal and wreckage for kilometers around. Number 55. D.Va fans started drawing Hannah as a gremlin gamer girl, portraying her eating Doritos and chugging Mountain Dew. Blizzard loved this enough that they added a city moat of her eating Doritos and drinking soda while playing video games. Number 56. It is possible for Tracer to recall to a location she was in previously that is now occupied by the payload. She will be trapped inside, but able to shoot
shoot out and cannot be shot at. She'll have to move with the payload, but if she blinks in any direction, she'll fall out of it. Too cool. Number 57. The different nations of the world responded to the Omnic threats in different ways. America made, of course, super soldiers. The two most notable being Jack Morrison and Gabriel Reyes, aka Soldier 76 and Reaper. Sorry, Steve Rogers, there's 2 new super soldiers in town.
Number 58. As the Omnic crisis inflicted a heavy toll on Egypt, the country's depleted and undermanned security forces relied on elite snipers for support, allowing them to make the most of their dwindling numbers. Number 59. The Germans responded by creating power armor suits that looked like the armor of the knights of old. The Crusaders, they were bigger and stronger than regular soldiers, but they would still need regular infantry to back them up. They could be walking barriers as well as wrecking balls. Obviously, this is Reinhardt's origin. Number 60. The South Koreans originally used drones to combat their Omnic threat, but after they were hacked, they made mechs as well. They also decided instead of soldiers to use gamers for their faster reflexes. So hence our favorite gremlin, Hannah Song. Number 61. Ana was the first hero added to Overwatch since its release, bringing the roster to 22. She also brought the support class out from being the smallest tier to tying them with the tank class. Number 62. Ana had originally been shown in teasers of Overwatch's original strike team, as well as in several files with her mask on and identity hidden, leading many to assume she was Sombra. Number 63. At San Diego Comic-Con, a developer confirmed that the inspiration for Ana's character design came from the old lady sniper in the movie Mad Max Fury Road, and also from the hijab, traditional veil that covers the head and chest of Muslim women. Number 64. The voice actor who recorded for Ana currently lives in Cairo, Egypt, where she also recorded her line. Her name has not yet been released, but whoever you are awesome. Number 65. The story of Ana has a lot of similarities to that of the Egyptian god Horus, who lost an eye during an altercation with a former friend, and Ana's case with Widowmaker, or Amelia. Additionally, both her and Farah possess an Eye of Horus tattoo. Number 66. Many believed Ana and Sombra were the same person until Blizzard released a developer commentary video talking about Ana that ended with some static, which was revealed to be a code from none other than Sombra herself. Number 67. It's not bad enough that Reinhardt had to bury 3 of his friends, but he actually spoke at Jack Morrison, aka Soldier 76's funeral. How elated but hurt he must be to find out that Jack, Gabriel, and Ana are actually all still alive and just decided not to tell him. Number 68. Reinhardt was forced to retire from active duty on the Overwatch strike team at the mandatory retirement age of 50. Guess retirement doesn't sit well with the Overwatch strike team. Number 69. Other characters left the Overwatch organization before it was disbanded, including Genji, who abandoned it after completing his mission against the Shimada clan. Number 70. At Gamescom 2016, Blizzard released their first new map since Overwatch's release, the German castle Eichenwald, the site of one of the most famous battles during the Omnic crisis, where the leader of the Crusaders, Baldric von Alder, and a handful of his best soldiers made a last stand against an advancing automaton army. Outnumbered and outgunned, they were ultimately slain during the resulting combat. However, thanks to their valiant efforts, the German military was able to push back against the Omnic offensive and win the fight in the end. Number 71. The horns of Diablo were actually mounted in the hunting lodge on the Eichenwald map. Just a little bit of a nod to their other series. Number 72. Reinhardt's name is carved into the bar table in the tavern. And we have to say, for a guy that wields a giant hammer, he actually has some pretty good penmanship. Number 73. In one of the hallways in the castle of Eichenwald, there's a bonfire with a sword in it that is thought to be a reference to the Dark Souls series. There's even a health pack nearby, which is a nice little reference because resting by a bonfire restores your HP. Number 74. In the instrument shop, the pianos can produce different sounds based on where you hit them. Just don't expect to play any concerts anytime soon. Number 75. Lijiang Tower's control center has several spacesuits on display with flags, displaying the astronaut's country of origin. These include suits from America and Nimbani. Number 76. Blizzard paid tribute to a fallen Chinese fan by putting their name on a spacesuit. It bears the Chinese flag with the words, "Heroes never die." Number 77. McCree was once the leader of the Deadlock Gang, until the Overwatch organization busted them and gave him the choice of maximum security lockup or joining Blackwatch. I think it's pretty obvious what his choice was. Number 78. Eichenwald translates to Oak Forest in German. Number 79. Tyrael from Diablo has his own brand of trailers with one part at the end of Hollywood, because if there's anything you want protecting you, it'd be a guardian angel. Number 80. Straight from StarCraft 2, you can find a Hydralisk skull on the maps of Hollywood and Temple of Anubis. Number 81. 81. On Hollywood, there is a movie set camera that follows the payload through the western set. Number 82. Also on Hollywood, there's a poster for the movie Hero of My Storm, which stars Hannah Song, or as we all know and love her, Diva. Number 83. Junkrat's Canteen has bubble tea in it. According to Jeff Kaplan, Junkrat's love for bubble tea was confirmed with a new voice line added in October. Number 84. Kuzaken Ziepfil, an item found on the menu on Eichenwald, is a fictional food from a German comedy sketch. Kuzaken Ziepfil translates roughly to Kuzaken's tip, point, or tail, obviously a euphemism for male genitalia. So I would strongly suggest you do not order it. Number 85. When Zarya is chosen on Volskaya Industries, she will sometimes quote a line in Russian from Cherry Orchard, a play from Russian playwright Anton Chekhov. A human has 100 senses, and with his death, only 5 known to us will die. The other 95 stay alive. It's interesting to know that Zarya is not only a super soldier and a world-class athlete, but also a theater nerd. Number 86. Tracer's original over-the-shoulder pose was replaced in the closed beta after concerns that it didn't fit the style of Tracer. Number 87. Well, worry no more. The new over-the-shoulder pose is a direct reference to an old pinup pose. You probably thought we were going to talk about this a lot longer than we actually are. Too bad. Number 88. The Temple of Anubis map held a god AI program called Anubis. It was in containment until it started to break free. You can find this story in the official comic on the Blizzard website called Farah's Mission Statement. Number 89. On the second point of Hanamura, you can see arrows and battle damage that are the exact same arrows and shuriken fired by Hanzo and Genji during the animated short Dragons. Number 90. All of Overwatch's maps have at least one corresponding hero related to them somehow, some more obvious than others. All of them except for Ilios, which is set in the Mediterranean where no released heroes have been mentioned living or coming through. Have an idea what'll come of it? Leave your theories in the comments below. Number 91. Numbani was originally a city in Overwatch's predecessor, Titan. Peter Lee designed the city, but Numbani was a very different city in terms of tone. As Overwatch was developed, the city was taken in a different direction as it became a city of peace and harmony between Omnics and humans. Number 92. Winston's HP can be topped off at 1600, which is the highest in the game. There's just a couple of prerequisites. 1. He has to go into his primal range mode, while then getting a sound barrier from Lucio, while already equipped with a shield from Symmetra, and getting an armor pack from Torbjorn. That's not too hard, right? With all of those stacks, Winston actually could survive a Diva nuke. Number 93. On Route 66, the second attacker spawn is a tourist trap called the Cave of Mystery. Using Halford Glitchbot's movie, They Came From Beyond the Moon as a theme. Number 94. Bastion's full name is SST Laboratory Siege Automaton E54. I think Bastion rolls off the tongue a little bit easier, and is dated as being 30 years old. Number 95. On Route 66, the first defender spawn point is Deadlock Propane and Propane Accessories, referencing the Texas-based animated show King of the Hill, and propane enthusiast main character Hank Hill. Who knows? Potential hero, maybe?
I sell propane and propane accessories.
Number 96. The heights of all the characters have been verified, and if you line them up from shortest to tallest, you might be surprised that Junkrat is actually taller than most characters, including the towering Zarya. Number 97. 10 to go. The Omnic crisis came in many forms around the world. South Korea, for example, was attacked by a colossal Omnic monstrosity, while other nations were taken by Omnics including Bastion units and various combat Omnics. Number 98. Overwatch's popularity can be seen most effectively in South Korean internet cafes. Upon release, Overwatch took a 11.7% share in internet cafes, known as PC bags, and eventually climbed to surpass League of Legends, beating the long-standing champion by a whole 2.2%. Number 99! Overwatch debuted number 1 in console series in the UK, knocking Uncharted 4 from the top spot and pushing other shooters such as Doom, Homefront, and Call of Duty down the list. Fact number 100, that's right, we made it to triple digits here. Overwatch is Twitch's most viewed new release in 2016, leading stablemate World of Warcraft in second place, and Destiny expansion Rise of Iron in third. Fact number 101. To advertise Overwatch's release, 3 Overwatch statues were placed in 3 different countries a week before the game's release. Tracer was placed in Hollywood, California, Genji at Centre Pompidou in Paris, France, and Farah in Busan, South Korea. Number 102. To celebrate Overwatch's release, the Overwatch logo was displayed large and proud on a bridge in Busan, South Korea. Number 103. At PAX East 2016, Overwatch partnered up with Uber and Henchman Props to make Uberwatch. Using Uberwatch, you could ride around Boston in one of 3 custom decal cars driven by a matching hero in full costume. Number 104. Chris Metzen announced his retirement from Blizzard Entertainment in September of 2016 after 23 years with the company. To say thanks for all that he has done for the company and bring several universes to life, Blizzard decided to show their dedication by erecting a statue of the legend himself. The statue shows him pointing off into the distance, holding the hand of a young Winston. Thanks for everything, Chris. I'm not crying. You're crying. I don't know what you're talking about. Fact number 105. On October 11th, 2016, Blizzard unveiled the Overwatch Halloween Terror event, which was a Halloween-themed event in Blizzard's second seasonal event. It showcased Halloween special skins, sprays, and a special awesome brawl, Junkenstein's Revenge. This would have been more of a surprise if a lot of this information hadn't already been leaked. Hackers found art assets months before the event was released, leading to speculation. The comic was released in Portuguese due to some hackers, and the Xbox Live and PlayStation 4 Marketplace showed Halloween loot boxes up for sale well before they were actually available. It's like opening your Christmas presents early. I don't know, I just wanted to be surprised on the official release. Fact number 106. We're almost there, folks. Sometimes when a game is just not difficult enough, people find a new way to make things more interesting for each other. People have been plugging in different peripherals and controllers to try to play characters a little bit differently, given it comes to mixed results. But still, really cool. We've already seen several characters played with a dance pad. We have seen Lucio get played appropriately with a DJ Hero controller, as well as YouTuber Rudism playing Diva with 2 pilot sticks, and even being able to play Winston with a bunch of bananas. No, we're serious. We couldn't make this up if we tried. You have to check this out. And surprisingly, it works actually pretty well. And finally, fact number 107. It was revealed that Sombra in development McCree was originally going to have a lasso instead of a flashbang grenade, but developers decided they liked the lasso idea a little too much and decided to use it for a possible further hero later. So maybe we'll see the lasso come back. Until then, they decided to just keep him with a simple flashbang.
Tracer is definitely the most identifiable character when it comes to the game Overwatch. She's an undeniable, indestructible force for good, and even though Overwatch is disbanded, that doesn't stop her from doing what she thinks is right. Speeding her way through the streets of London, Tracer is one of the most iconic characters to come out of Blizzard's latest PC juggernaut, and it's time to find out why. Hi, I'm Brendan with the Leaderboard, and we're here today to take a look inside this character who can skip through time and space. Think you'll be able to keep up? With the given name of Lena Oxton, Tracer hails from the city of London, England. She was originally a pilot for Overwatch and was chosen to test a teleporting aircraft known as the Slipstream. While testing the Slipstream, it malfunctioned and got lost in a completely different dimension, Tracer along with it. Though trapped outside of the flow of time, Overwatch was able to bind her to our plane of reality by suiting her with a special device invented by Winston called the Chronal Accelerator. This piece of equipment gave Tracer control over her blink and recall abilities, which have allowed her to further contribute to Overwatch's goals. The Chronal harness emits a blue energy trail that actually traces where she is on the map for players. Tracer was the first hero created by Blizzard for Overwatch and was fully implemented during early tests of the game. Part fighter pilot and part track athlete, she has a very unique design that's meant to convey the speed of her character. While not originally intended, Tracer became the unofficial mascot or face of Overwatch, simply because director Chris Metzen and the other team members just loved her so much. The more they brought Tracer to life, the more they wanted to put her in the forefront of the Overwatch storyline. Her voice actress is Cara Theobald, best known for her work on Downton Abbey. Tracer is a speedy character with a powerful kit. Her signature weapons, which are featured not only in the game but also in the promotional footage, short movies, and the comics, are her pulse pistols. The pulse pistols are a pair of short-ranged weapons that fire scattered laser bullets in a cone in front of the player. An interesting thing about the reloading animation is that it looks like Tracer is recalling her own guns in order to rewind rewind the bullets back to them. In January of 2017, a YouTuber known as Laser Gadgets actually made working pulse pistols just like Tracer's. They're able to shoot bright blue lasers, but also have the ability to set things on fire, so he cautioned against using them for cosplay purposes. Tracer's ultimate ability is the Pulse Bomb, which is a sticky bomb that deals fat damage and insta-kills most characters if you stick them. Blink and Recall are the bread and butter of Tracer's kit. Blink allows her to zip across the map and take her enemies by surprise. This is great for getting behind enemy lines quickly, executing squishies, and getting out of there just in the heat of time. Careful though, you only get 3 charges at a time. A good strategy is to always have at least 1 blink charge on hand to get you out of a tough fight. Recall gives Tracer the ability to go back in time a full 3 seconds. This move can restock her health depending on how long you've been hurt, and will always reload her weapons. This is also Tracer's primary escape tool and is considered one of the more reliable self-heals in the game thanks to how fast it works. Tracer is an effective offense hero thanks to her ability to zip in and out of fights in less than a second. A great strategy is to get behind the enemy team and distract them, allowing your other teammates to advance. It's always a huge relief for the team facing a Tracer to eliminate her from the fight even for a few seconds. So they'll often chase her and leave key positions open. To make up for her amazing kit, Tracer has very low health. This makes her an even more tempting target to fire at. That blue core flashing on her chest may as well be a target sign. She's strong against slower enemies who like to stay in the back of their team, such as Zenyatta, Hanzo, and Widowmaker. Director of Overwatch Jeff Kaplan recommends going Roadhog, whose crowd-controlling hook and burst-firing shotgun are perfect for getting rid of Tracer, even after his nerf. Soldier 76 with some great tracking can be a tough enemy for Tracer as well, especially if he lands a hit on her with his Tri-Rocket, which will take out most of Tracer's health. Winston with his automatic weapon tracking is great for dealing consistent damage to Tracer and crippling her. In the right hands, Tracer may seem like an unstoppable force, but she can always be countered and outplayed. Tracer has 18 different costume designs or skin choices, the most of any character in the game. She also has a whopping 10 legendary skins. She practically gets a new skin every other event, which is to be expected of Overwatch's poster girl. Several of Tracer's skins are pop culture references, which Blizzard has done before in games like World of Warcraft. 2 of her skins, T-Racer and its variation Mach-T, are collective nod to the classic anime series Speed Racer. When she dons the racing helmet, she sometimes says the voice line, "Here comes T-Racer," which is similar to the first line in Speed Racer's opening theme. Other pop references hidden in Tracer's wardrobe can be picked from 2 of her epic skins. The Sporty and Posh skins are a reference to Sporty Spice, Melanie Chisholm, and Posh Spice, Victoria Adams. Someone's a Spice Girls fan. Tracer also has 2 legendary skins that were inspired by the Summer Olympics in Rio back in 2016. Both are sporty and depict her as a runner, but one costume has her wear the colors of Great Britain's flag and also displays the British flag draped over her shoulder, while the other skin has a more tropical and warm feel with the Rio Games flag over her shoulder. Tracer's sport was track and field, which is a nice callback to the track athlete design of her character. Lucky for us, the 2016 Summer Games skins are making a comeback this year. Available now! Tracer also has a legendary skin that is only unlockable by buying the Origins edition of Overwatch. For her Slipstream skin, Tracer dons aviator glasses and wears a more traditional, at least for this world, pilot's uniform as a reference to where she started in Overwatch. The legendaries don't stop there. Tracer also received an elf-themed legendary skin for the Winter Wonderland event. The Uprising event revealed yet another legendary with Cadet Oxton, her outfit from her very first mission with Overwatch. And for Overwatch's most recent anniversary, Blizzard gave Tracer the Graffiti skin. Phew! Blizzard sure does love to accessorize their characters. Heroes of the Storm is another MOBA from Blizzard Studios that features characters from each universe they've created. This game was first released before Overwatch in June of 2015, but players could get a small taste of what was to come by receiving Tracer as a playable character when they pre-ordered Overwatch. Much like in Overwatch, Tracer takes on the assassin role in Heroes of the Storm. She is highly mobile and is great at picking off and finishing weakened enemies. She also has her signature moves from Overwatch, such as her ability to blink across the map and her powerful pulse bomb. In Heroes of the Storm, Tracer has also received skins that were never featured in Overwatch. Blizzard threw a StarCraft reference Tracer's way by giving her the Ghost skin, which resembles the Ghost unit from StarCraft. Despite being released in Heroes of the Storm prior to Overwatch's launch, Tracer was introduced to gamers first in Overwatch's 2015 trailer, and they got to know her even better during the betas. In an earlier version of the game, one of Tracer's many post-battle victory poses came into question from players online. The pose had Tracer looking over her shoulder with her back to the viewer, but because her clothing is a little more form-fitting, it seemed as if the focus was meant to be, on her rump. The opinions of fans were split somewhat evenly. Some thought Tracer's being overly sexualized, whereas others saw it as nothing more than a playful but powerful stance. A thread on the subject caught fire on Reddit, and it didn't slip past the attention of Jeff Kaplan. He noticed a posting from concerned father whose daughter had looked up to Tracer. The father mentioned that he felt the character pose wasn't entirely appropriate for the character. Kaplan also said that the pose didn't quite mesh with Tracer's character, saying that she's, quote, cute and does everything with a wink and a smile. The over-the-shoulder pose had her taking herself too seriously. Kaplan mentioned that the team would immediately work on removing the pose, and that he and the other creators of Overwatch wanted everybody to feel strong and heroic in the community. He did take personal responsibility for not communicating this issue well enough to those concerned on the forums. After all that was said and done, Tracer's pose was replaced with one more in tune with her character. The new pose is much more carefree, but still maintains a fun aspect to it. Tracer has appeared in several of the Overwatch comics that have been released since the game came onto the market. She appears specifically in the Uprising comic, as well as the Winter Wonderland special, Reflections. In Reflections, we learn that Tracer does not always have her chronal accelerator on to maintain her place in time. Blizzard later explained in a separate post that as long as Tracer is near the accelerator, she can stay in the time stream. Uprising is a Tracer-centric story that focuses on Lena's first major mission with Overwatch. The comic acted as a prelude to an in-game event where players would team up as Tracer, Mercy, Reinhardt, and Torbjorn to tackle an Omnic uprising in London. In it, we learn of Tracer's motivation to join Overwatch. Tracer is in almost every one of the animated shorts that promote Overwatch, since she has ties with many of the major characters. Arguably the most memorable of her appearances is her role in Widowmaker's short story, Alive. A rivalry between Tracer and Widowmaker is hinted at in the game, and this movie solidifies that dynamic by pitting the two against each other. It also rules. It's like the best one, trust me. I mean, watch them all, but it's the best one. Right before Christmas in 2016, Blizzard made the announcement in Reflections that Tracer is indeed queer, and she has a girlfriend named Emily. Tracer's relationship with Emily was originally supposed to stay out of the game, but the developers snuck Emily into the game through some of Tracer's pre-match dialogue. She'll sometimes say,
"Wonder if I have time to visit Emily." No, better stay focused.
Many Overwatch fans rejoiced at the idea of Blizzard creating an inclusive world where everybody of all walks of life were visible. The comic shows Tracer rushing to find a last-minute Christmas gift for her girlfriend, and while she fumbles through the entire story and runs into trouble along the way, she ends up successful and is met with a heartwarming smooch from her love. Many felt as though this was the most appropriate way to go about portraying and introducing a loving queer couple without trying to make it too much of a big deal. There is always, of course, another side to the argument as well. Some fans felt as though Tracer's sexual orientation was shoehorned into the series, or felt as though it was too soon to label her as anything because nothing was previously put into words regarding her preference in romantic partners. However, the reaction overall has been positive in the gaming community. Blizzard has gone on record to say that there are multiple characters in the Overwatch universe who are part of the LGBT community, but it's important to note that the unspoken face of the game was the first to come out. And that's the lowdown on the speedster with a smile, Tracer. Once again, I'm Brendan, and thanks for watching 7 Facts About Tracer.
Overwatch has been praised for having a deep and intriguing universe, even though the game comes without a story mode. That's because Blizzard does an amazing job putting pieces just below the surface for us to find. But when you dive deeper, you start to find all sorts of treasure. Not just juicy story bits, but jokes, references, and real people hiding in a virtual space. Hi, I'm Kyle Stover with the Leaderboard. Overwatch is an amazing game, but first and foremost, it is a Blizzard game. And Blizzard loves to hide references galore in all of their games. So we're here to uncover some of our favorite Easter eggs we found in Overwatch. Let's get started. Overwatch members or artists. On the map Watchpoint Gibraltar, the defender's first spawn point is a locker room under the warehouse. To the left, you will find 5 lockers with names on them. Now, before you think we've just discovered the next 5 characters coming to Overwatch, these names actually belong to members of the Blizzard Environmental Art Team. I think with all the work they put into these levels, they deserve to slap their names on a few things. Number 2, the legendary date. On the map Hollywood, you've probably noticed all of the movie posters up. There are plenty of references to tropes, puns on classic movie titles, and even a movie starring Hannah Song, aka Diva. But there's one movie poster we'd like to direct you to. Get it? Get it? Direct? Because movies? Director? Anyway, They Came From Beyond. If you look at the release date, you'll notice it says coming fall 10th, which is of course a nonsense date, but that actually, my friend, is a bit of Overwatch meme history. See, before Blizzard released the closed beta, we didn't know when, and YouTuber Star joked that Blizzard didn't give me a date. It It wasn't like fall 10th. This became such a popular joke amongst fans that it actually reached Blizzard's ears, and they immortalized it by putting in the game. The more you know. Number 3. Praise the sun! Anyone who's a fan of Dark Souls will recognize the bonfire that's lit in Eichenwald in the castle halls next to one of the big health packs. Bonfires in Dark Souls act as checkpoints and a sort of healing station in the game after you light them. This one is luckily already lit for you, but unfortunately works for both you and your enemies. Number 4. An old friend. You may have never noticed it, but Roadhog is covered in pins. I can't blame you. He has a lot of terrifying parts that are not the pins. But if you look at them, there are plenty of silly ones, but one in particular has a long-standing history. Greentooth, the Polycount mascot. Greentooth represents one of the oldest artist community sites on the internet, running since the late 1990s. Its users are a mix of well-established video game artists, hobbyists, and more. Greentooth has been showing up in video games for years, so it's nice to see that a familiar face made it into Blizzard's newest IP. Number 5, Can't Stop the Beat. Volskaya Industries is famous for creating the Svyatogor mechs, the ones that patrol the city and loom over the capture points off in the background that we fight for so frantically. They lumber slowly, like giants, which is what they're named after. But they have this ability to move rather dexterously and quick, as shown by one pilot in particular. At point A, if you look out of the frozen lake into the city, you might just catch one of the mechs busting a move. You'll have to be fast though, as it only lasts a moment before he snaps back to attention. Number 6, Proof of Gremlins. Memes have leaked into Overwatch before, but one of the most fun to see in action would arguably be Gremlin Diva. Fan art of a less serious, more childlike Hannah started to emerge. Buried in her games with Doritos and Mountain Dew close at hand, it sought to show Diva for the gamer girl she is. Blizzard then added in the first legendary emote where Diva's mech sits down, projects Lost Viking 6, while Hannah pulls out a bag of DVitos and nondescript green soda. But come on, we all know what it's supposed to be. To get in some game time before, well, game time. Another reference to Gremlin Diva came with the Halloween event Halloween Terror. Every hero got an exclusive victory pose in the form of a tombstone with some signature items around it. Symmetra had some turrets placed around her tombstone. Junkrat's trap is clasped to the top of his like it's trying to take a bite out of his headstone, but Diva's has something special behind it. You can only see it if you're in the hero gallery and rotate the tombstone, and you will find a couple of Doritos set like an offering or a bouquet of flowers. Number World of Warcraft and the World of Overwatch. One of Blizzard's first franchise, and by far its biggest, the Warcraft universe makes several cameos in Overwatch. Some more ops, some a bit more I'm sure just about everyone has noticed the giant Murloc outside of Hanamura's attacking spawn point, but have you noticed that the same brand of Murloc-themed ramen can be found in boxes in the warehouse in Route 66? Guess it's more of an international brand than just a local. Good for you. You can also find a Murloc on the side of the Sandcrawler, aka the attacker spawn on Temple of... but I'm sure you've probably noticed it. But if you haven't, we probably need to work on your situational awareness and or that tunnel. You gotta keep aware of your surroundings. On Ilios, on the lighthouse level, one of the shops that you run through is a fishing and has boxes of Merc-bait on. On the cover is Nicky, the baby Murloc from Heroes of... Out in plain sight, you can see on Hollywood that you are entering Goldshire Studio, which is a reference to the town of Gold, and there's also a street called Goldshire. The newest map, Oasis, has an easily missed Easter egg on it. On the university map, you pass hundreds of, but one is sitting out on a table in green binding that can be seen in the Green Hills of Strangle, sharing a name with an achievement in World of Warcraft. My favorite reference, and a not so commonly noticed one, is one of Winston's spawn room lines. On occasion,
I'm coming up with 32.33, repeating of course, percentage of survival.
Let's do this! Leroy Dragons!
It's still your turn. You've probably noticed it, but in the cinematic trailer to Overwatch, when they cut to the security guard who should be watching the monitors and doing his job, he's playing. Well, he's not the only one that's still playing the card game that's been out, gosh, at that point, 65 years at least? Good job, Blizzard. Monitors and tablets are shown strewn across multiplayer maps, showing Hearthstone and playing its iconic tech, including on the maps Temple of Anubis, Helios, Hollywood, King. They're all stuck on the same turn with the same matchup going. No one's really moving and nothing's really happening. Don't you just hate it when your opponents just try to wait you out like, damn. Also on Route 66, one of the soda fountain flavors in the dinner is Doc, a play on Dr. Pepper and a reference to the legendary Dr. Boom card from the Goblins and Gnomes who was obviously a play on Dr. Doom of the Fantastic Four. God, there's so many layers on this one, man. Number 9, the devil went down to Overwatch. Overwatch has had several references to the Diablo series, including a bounce check from Deckard and a brand of hot sauce in the diner's attack starting room on Route 66. There are also several pinatas of Diablo on the map Dorado that are destructible and probably much more adorable than the Lord of Hell would like to be known. On Hollywood, the trailer at the end of the map that you are escorting Halford Glitchbot is a Tyrael brand. It's like having your own guardian. Plus, I can only imagine that thing has got to be at least half as sturdy as that limo. I mean, that thing has withstood shotgun blasts, nuclear blasts, and has held several characters in full equipment on it, and it has an impressive craftsman. On Eichenwald during Attack Point A, there's a lodge behind the captain. Along the stairs, you'll see some hunting trophies, a couple of antlers, and a pair of thick black horns belonging to the Diablo 3 incarnation of Diablo. Then, of course, in Hanamura's 16-bit hero arcade, there's the Soulstone Demon Slayer machines, which show several playable characters and monsters in a seemingly side-scroller like Number 10. Hey, you got StarCraft in my Overwatch. StarCraft is well represented in Overwatch already, what with Diva officially being a former StarCraft pro player and her constant shouting of common gaming phrases. But there are even more references beyond that if you dig deep enough. In the reveal trailer of Overwatch, the older brother is wearing a blue hoodie with the Rainer's Raider symbol on the back. His younger brother also has a Murloc cast on his arm. It's not StarCraft related, of course, but just wanted to keep the brothers together. You know, that being said though, a Murloc unit would be fun to see. Just saying. Several arcade games have StarCraft references in them, but even the arcade itself is a reference. If you look at the attacker spawn doors, you'll see the establishment is the 16-bit Jim Raynor as its mascot. At the diner on Route 66, you'll find a couple of references to the StarCraft universe. There is a comic book left out entitled Craft from the Stars, which shows a Protoss mothership in a face-off against 3 Terran battlecruisers with headshots of Jim Raynor, leader of Raynor's Raiders, Zeratul, the Dark Templar, and Kerrigan, Queen of Blades, on the cover. There is also a soda fountain with the Zerg symbol on it. I probably wouldn't drink whatever it is, but now I'm curious what flavor it would be. Like creep, Baneling Bile, or something else? Only one way to find out, I guess. The Terrans aren't the only ones being represented though. Hydralisk's skull can be seen mounted on the wall of the attacker's spawn in the Temple of Anubis, and in the saloon in Hollywood's western setting. The same trophy can be seen in a cinematic at the beginning of StarCraft II Wings of Liberty, while Jim Raynor is remembering good times at the bottom of a glass. Number 11. Lost but not forgotten. Blizzard is never one to forget where they came from. One of their earliest series, the Lost Vikings, made it into Overwatch as well. The trio of bearded adventurers got their own stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. If you look down as you leave the first attack spawn point, you'll see their 3 stars, and they even each got their own star, unlike in Heroes of the Storm where they have to share a hero slot. Also, in the future, there must have been some additional Lost Vikings games, I guess, because the arcade in Hanamura is Lost Viking 6. Guess they decided to go towards the sci-fi genre? Nah, that's just another reference to StarCraft, with the Viking transforming air-to-ground unit, and not in the way you think. Number 12, you know what time it is. On Route 66, McCree's home turf, there are very few indoor locations, but when you go inside, take a look around. We've mentioned plenty of references to distract you from the most mundane thing inside, the clocks. All of the clocks on Route 66 show it is 12 o'clock, which means on Route 66, it truly is high noon.
We're reloading and charging back into battle with another batch of Overwatch Easter eggs. We brought you some of our favorites last time around, but just like the one Reaper who always seems to end up on your team, there were a lot of things that we missed. The world of Overwatch is crammed with Blizzard's trademark attention to detail, from memes and references to nuggets of in-game lore that you might have missed in the heat of battle. And this time we turn to you to hit us up with some of your favorites. I'm Darian P. Mack with the Leaderboard, and this is our fan-fueled rematch with the Easter eggs of Overwatch. So let's get the payload moving. Gremlins 2, The New Batch, submitted by Back in 2004, iMain Window, and Listing Characters. Last time around, we told you how Blizzard had embraced Diva's Gremlin persona, a fan interpretation of the mech pilot as a Mountain Dew-fueled hellion, spitting gamer slang and making life miserable for parent characters like Mercy and Soldier 76. But we didn't catch every detail. You might remember Diva's legendary emote, where she sits her mech down for a game mid-battle, stuffing copyright-safe Dorito lookalikes into her mouth. But what we didn't catch was that if you get real close, you'll see that she's live streaming, complete with a donation count that's already over 9,000. A little supplementary income never hurts when you're out saving the world. Of course, while Diva may love her not Dorito Doritos, Winter Wonderland, the game's inaugural holiday season event, gave players the chance to loot a spray featuring a stubby-legged, angry-eyed, gingerbread diva that's reminiscent of some of her most popular gremlinized fan art. Run as fast as you can, you're not going to be doing the catching. She's got a machine gun toting mech suit. A Taste of Oasis submitted by Zach Nichols. Diva may have a questionable diet, but not every Overwatch fighter is fueled by junk food. When the desert heat has you parched, you'll be glad to know that the drinking fountains that dot the city streets are fully functional. You're just a punch, shotgun blast, or swing of your rocket hammer away from liquid refreshment. But if hearty cuisine is what you're after, take note. On the city center stage, one team will find itself spawning inside of El Buffet, known as the best restaurant in the Overwatch world. And if the one thing you love more than fine dining is truly obscure references, know this. There's a nod to the El Bougie, a real-life eatery that was also once called the world's greatest. Something to chew on while you wait for your next battle to start. Be it ever so humble, submitted by your mom. Of course, not every member of Overwatch is a foodie. Some don't eat or drink at all. Which brings us to the Omnic Sanctuary at Nepal. The action on the village stage is hectic, especially in and around the death trap of a capture point. But head upstairs and you'll find a quiet place that serves as a secret hideaway of cyborg ninja Genji. While he's not much of an interior decorator, Genji does have at least one prized possession, a framed picture of himself and his brother Hanzo from before things got ugly and Genji got outfitted with his new metal gear. The two aren't in the best of terms anymore, but we're willing to bet Hanzo misses his brother a lot. Don't stand so close to me or you'll get sniped. Submitted by JJ Zombie Killer. Nepal may be a haven for Omnics like Zenyatta, but elsewhere in the Overwatch world, things are a lot less rosy. Take King's Row, the payload map where Omnic spiritual leader Mandata was assassinated by the blue-skinned sniper you love to hate, Widowmaker. You've probably taken cover behind the enormous statue of the Omnic leader that looms over the first checkpoint many times, but you might not have spotted the smaller shrine tucked away by the movie theater nearby. It's a somber reminder of what the Overwatch is fighting for, and the kind of detail that makes Blizzard's level design special. Of course, it wouldn't be a Blizzard game without a heavy dose of pop culture, and some of you might have caught on to the meaning behind Zenyatta and Mandata's names. It's not a Buddhist mantra or Nepali phrase, it's the title of an album by Sting and the Police. It looks like for the Omnics, rock music really can be a religious experience. Breakfast served until high noon, submitted by The Raven 35. When it comes to references, Overwatch is unsurprisingly stacked high. Take this homage to Bill Murray's classic Groundhog Day. In the movie, Bill, who's stuck reliving the same day over and over, realizes he can do anything he wants, all the way up to mocking cops he just led on a high-speed chase by acting like he's ordering fast food from them out of his crashed car. He ends with the all-important question, is it too early for flapjacks? We all know in our hearts the answer to this question, and the owner of the diner on the Route 66 map agrees. It's never too early for flapjacks, so they just printed it on a poster. There's even a little groundhog chilling under the big buttery sun, just in case you thought this wasn't a reference but an expression of undying love for pancakes. Warning, Easter eggs may explode, submitted by Eternal Gear. Now we're taking an explosive powered jump here to the land of Blizzard, referencing Blizzard. Last time around we spotted Dr. Boom in the Route 66 diner, a soda name for the marvelous and maniacal goblin who went from a minor NPC in World of Warcraft to major threat in Hearthstone. But that's not the only place the Too Good Doctor rears his hooded head, because it seems that one of Overwatch's player characters has been getting in some game time on the computers that we pointed out in the last video. You might not have guessed that it's the pyromaniac Junkrat, but he's got a voice line that suggests he's our culprit, quipping that if he had a PhD, he'd be called Dr. Boom. The Mad Max extra gone rogue isn't looking to hang up the grenade launcher and further his education, he's just dreaming about closing the game out once he's hit 7 mana. A fistful of Easter eggs submitted by Dylan Barber. Of course, no trip to Route 66 is complete until we check in with Overwatch's resident timekeeper, Jesse McCree. Mixed in with his range of good, bad, and ugly sprays, you'll find an homage to a certain cartoon standby. An image of his trusty 6-shooter firing off a harmless bang flag. The harmless prank weapon is most famously associated with the not-so-harmless prankster, the Joker. If he ever took after the clown prince of crime enough to make an enemy of the Batman, it's no wonder he has such an obsession with keeping the sun overhead. Schrodinger's Cake by Pasathon Pancho. Now let's step away from Route 66 and the diner. Pancakes aren't the cake you crave. You want something sweet, something rich, moist, and slathered in frosting. While high-tech supporting player Symmetra is here to help. Maybe. In case you need a refresher, in Portal, Valve's first-person puzzler, you're tasked with using, well, portals to make your way through the deadly puzzles devised by the murderous AI, GLaDOS. All in exchange for delicious cake. Fair trade, right? Until you learn the cake is a lie. Symmetra is Overwatch's own portal master, though as a member of the shady Veshkar Corporation, she may be more of a GLaDOS. And she has a pair of unused voice lines that make light of that fact. But the problem is, she can't make up her mind. In one, she says the cake is not a lie, but in the other, she gets tricky. The cake is a lie, or is it? Until the Lightbender can get her story straight, you may want to skip the desert. One bowl, extra submitted by Juza. We may not have gotten our cake fix with Symmetra, but there's something hot and delicious waiting for us in Hanamura. We pointed out that Rikimaru's Murloc mascot last time, but didn't catch that he's got an interactive surprise in store. Though we couldn't get him to launch into his ragtime dance number while cameras were rolling, we did find that it only takes a few bullets, lasers, or bombs to make him let out his trademark gurgles. Go Go Genji, submitted by Ricky Nicholas Productions. Rikimaru may have been our last stop on our culinary tour of Overwatch, but while we're in Hanamaru, you'd be crazy not to take a look in some Japanese culture. Like, hey, over there, is that a pro cosplayer? Nope, it's just Genji, rocking a sweet green skin inspired by the Kamen Rider and Super Sentai franchise, complete with a set of unique voice lines. Of course, you might mistake him for a certain dinosaur piloting teenager with attitude, and you're not too far off. The Power Rangers series actually began as a clever way of reusing the reams of footage of Super Sentai's masked heroes by splicing them in with new footage of American actors. And while the Power Rangers movie may have made Genji proud by dashing off a cliff at the box office, Super Sentai has been going strong in Japan for over 40 years. Ask your mummy before playing online. Submitted by Brandon Pope and Knights of Nonsense. We're ending this bizarre adventure by traveling from Japan to Egypt, where there's one last reference to a Blizzard heavy hitter hidden away in the ruins of the Anubis map. Last time around, we touched on the Hydralisk head mounted on the wall of the attacker's spawn. And while we're betting there's something young Overwatch diva splurged on with her Steam donations, it turns out another Blizzard series has fans who are way older. Anubis is dotted with hieroglyphs, and while you may not have noticed them during the hours and hours of devastation you've been wrecking on your opponents, take pause for some light reading, and you'll see a familiar logo mixed in. It's the symbol of the Horde, that ragtime gang of zombies, orcs, and cows from the World of Warcraft. While you might be jealous of all the time the pharaohs had to level their characters, you'll change your tune when you consider this. Over 4,000 years of subscription fees, and they still haven't found Menkrik's wife. I guess if you're willing to wait decades for a pyramid to be built, hours of grinding seems like a cakewalk.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out the leaderboard for more Overwatch videos and subscribe so you know whenever we upload. And if you're into the Overwatch League or other esports, head on over to our other channel, Leaderboard Esports, where they talk about the latest in competitive gaming news. Remember to keep it here to the leaderboard, your home for video game facts.